Hey guys, so it's been 1 month since we bought this new Chevrolet Bolt EUV Premier trim. So I thought I will do a review of the 1 month after it's being used. Driven about 2,200 miles on it. I did a few long road trips to a few national parks. So let's see how this went. The first part of this review, I would like to talk about the mileage you would get on a full charge of battery. So the company says, and GM says 247, but I've noticed it's more around 220 to 230 based on your style of driving. I mostly driven on the highways and on speeds where it was more than 65 miles an hour, so I only noticed a mileage of around 230 to 220 miles on a full charge. What's important about the charge is, because this has regenerative braking, if you're driving more in the cities and braking often, like I am in the current stop and go traffic, you will get more mileage. So you would probably hit around the 240 mark, but I don't see you crossing 250 on this. Other than that, the charging, I noticed that if you charge on a level 2 charger at home, it takes about 6 to 7 hours to get complete charge from about 5% to 100%. But then again, I never really charged it from 0 to 100, so every hour of a level 2 charger gives you about 20 to 25 miles of charging. So that's your baseline. As far as charging on the road goes, I noticed that GM says about 30 minutes should give you 95 miles, but I believe I've noticed on the DC fast chargers, the EVgo on the roads, I haven't gotten more than 60 miles on 30 minutes of charging, so that is something to keep in mind. I guess different types of chargers matter, but this is what I found at the EVgo DC charger station. So on level 1 charging, which I've never used, you basically take 55 hours to go from a 0 to 100. I don't think many people recommend charging level 1 charger unless you have an emergency and you don't have a level 2 charger or DC charging option around. But I've never really used the level 1 charger in this 1 month that I own this car. Now let's talk about the Super Cruise. One thing to notice as far as battery efficiency goes is the more you use the Super Cruise on highways, it's more relaxing, and it's the use of the feature, of course, but the battery mileage on your full charge of battery would be lesser, as in because it's not braking as much as it would during regenerative braking and manual driving. You would notice that the full charge, which starts off about 230 miles, you would probably get about 200 to 210 miles on it if you use the majority of that, 90% of that miles on highway with the Super Cruise on. So the Super Cruise definitely does drain the battery. Also, I've noticed that when you're on inclines, the battery is draining more, but when you're on a decline on steep hills, you actually generate a lot of energy, so that is something that helps your mileage. The decline adds to your mileage, the incline reduces the battery or drains the battery quicker. Overall, as far as the use of the car itself goes, it's pretty seamless. Most SUVs, you would not find any difference compared to many other SUVs on the market. The controls on the dash are pretty straightforward. The Super Cruise mode itself takes a few weeks to get used to because of the way it turns on the lanes, and it maintains. Sometimes you would feel that it is not doing its job and you would hear that sound. That's probably when you need to manually take over, and that's an indication for that. Other than that, I think EVgo is pretty useful when you're on the road trips. I got a credit of $500 when I bought this car from GM for EVgo, so EVgo is basically when you want to charge on the road. Other than that, I think I have no complaints for the 1 month of having this car. It's really been smooth, and the braking has been good, the acceleration has been good, and overall I think I would give it 5 out of 5 for performance and usability for requirements of my day-to-day use, and as well as long trips on the road. As far as the long trips on the road go, it is always helpful to have your maps planned in a way that your EVgo chargers are spotted before you make the drive. That would make it helpful for you to do a long road trip. For instance, I did one from San Francisco to Lake Tahoe, where we mapped all the EVgo chargers on the way, and basically every 2 to 3 hours we charged our battery enough so we could go to the destination. So these are the things you need to keep in mind. I would definitely recommend this car only if you're getting the Super Cruise mode on it. Without the Super Cruise on the car, I don't think this is the best SUV or electric EUV out there. There might be many other options, but the Super Cruise mode itself is a game changer, and it's a very relaxing feature when you're on the highway and you spend about 90% of the time just driving at 65 miles an hour. That's the best feature. It makes the job easy. You can definitely grab a snack or have a drink of water and drive and pay attention to the road while the car does its own driving. So definitely get the car if you're getting the Super Cruise mode on it. Without that, I wouldn't recommend this as your top option for an electric SUV currently. Overall, for the price point where it is and with the Super Cruise mode, I think it's a very good car and you should definitely give it a shot. So a couple other points to notice is the seats. The front driver's seat and the passenger seat is really comfortable. They have heated seats as well as ventilated seats, so it's good for both summer and winter, as well as heated steering wheel, which of course will come in handy during the winter time. Also, the back seats are pretty comfortable. They have a lot of leg room, enough for a person about 5 foot 10 inches. So anybody of that height could easily fit in the back, and it would be a comfortable ride for them. There's also charging points for the driver, the passenger, as well as at the back of the car for the people sitting in the back. So there's plenty of charging. Also, the seats by the window on the back side are heated, so that would come in handy during winter cold days. So yeah, the Premier trim of this Chevy Bolt EUV is definitely worth it, and its features inside are also at par for what you would want to have for a vehicle at this cost. Hey guys, so it's been a month since I got the Chevy Bolt EUV, and I thought I should do a review of a month of ownership of the car. So a few things that I like about the car: it's a really spacious mid-size SUV, spacious for 5 people who are about 5.5 feet. We did have quite a few long road trips on it, and we did enjoy space in the back seats particularly. The other thing that I like about the car is the Super Cruise mode can be turned on without having the adaptive cruise control on. So if you're in a mapped road which supports Super Cruise, you can actually directly hit the Super Cruise button and it will turn it on, which is a great feature I did not know about. So yeah, the way you would know that is the steering wheel sign of the Super Cruise will turn on your dash directly, and then you can turn it on by hitting the button. So let's look at the things that I don't like. The first thing that I don't like is that it doesn't have a mobile phone reminder, as in when you put the phone on the trackpad to charge and you're driving and you turn the car off and you head into the house or your shopping mall, more often than not I tend to forget where the phone is, sometimes panic, but then I realize the phone is always sitting on the trackpad where it's being charged. So like many other reminders in the car, like the rear door reminder for when you open the rear door before you start your drive, if you turn off your car it asks you to check the rear seats before you exit the car. There could have been a reminder for the mobile phone. I mean, this is something that I believe Chevy can definitely look into in the future. The second thing that I don't like is the parking camera in the front only comes on when you actually reverse a little bit. So when you're trying to park into a tight spot and you could use the front camera, I noticed that it doesn't really turn on its own. So my trick to use that is actually hit reverse for a little bit and then hit forward, that is drive again. That way the camera, the 360-degree camera turns on and I can see the front view and the top view of the car, which helps me in the parking. This could be better if you could actually just keep going forward and you slow down and you're trying to get into a parking spot. The car itself should have been smart enough to know that, okay, the speed of the car has come to a halt and it's probably parking, so I can turn the 360-degree view along with the front camera view. That definitely does help in the parking assist. The other thing that I don't like is the trunk. The space of the trunk is really small compared to the hatchback or the sedan that I had before. So it definitely does not fit 2 big travel size bags. It fits 1 big travel size bag along with probably a couple small size bags, whereas the sedan that I had did 2 big bags and 2 small bags. So definitely there's a smaller space in the trunk of the car. But overall, I definitely do love having this car. I think it's probably the best decision I made as far as buying a new car goes. It definitely is worth it for the electric mileage, about 240 to 50 miles on a good drive. And yeah, it does help save on a lot of gas money, particularly around these times. So I still give it 5 out of 5, and after a month and about driving 2,000 plus miles on it, I think it's definitely worth your money. So yeah, go for the Chevy Bolt EUV.